Alrighty. To guess. Adivina. To guide. Gia. To have just. Akabade. To have just. Akabade. To hug abraza. To indicate indica. To introduce presenter. To judge who'sga. To judge who'sga. To jump brinka. To kill matar. Oh shit, no, I did this already. Okay. To sign firmer. To smoke fuma. To stop para. To turn off abaga. To turn dobla. To fold dobla. To use utilizer. To be born naser. To be harmful or damaging haser dano. To be scared, tener miedo. To be worth it, valer la pena. To conquer, vencer. To overcome, vencer. To convince, convincer. To depend, depender. To deserve, merece. To disappear, desapareza. To distract, distrayer. To fit, kaba. Caber. To grow, greca. To have, haber. To hide, esconder. To pay attention, hacer caso. To pay attention, prestar atencio. To pick up, recoga. To respond, responder. To suppose, supona. To switch on like prinda. To admit, admitter. To cover, cubrir. To cover, cubrir. To demand, exige. To describe, describe. To direct, deriger. To discover, descubre. To discuss, discuter. To debate, discuter. To exist, exister. To insista. To interrupt, interrumpir. To occur. To suffer, suffer. To correct, corriger. To correct, corriger. To smile, sonria. To ski, esquier. To construct, construer. To contribute, to contribute, to lie, mentir. To maintain, mantina. To suggest, sugure. To take off, attender. To attend, attender. To bite, murder. To say or tell, contar. To count on, contar, To dream about, sonur, To let go, salter. To pass a course or exam, approba. To resolve, resolver. To smell, oler. To sound, sonner. To ring, sonner. To appear, appariser. To attract, atreya. To establish, establisha. To offer, africa. To offer, afrisa. To produce, producer. To produce, producer. To protect, protega. To protect, protega. To recognize, reconocer. To recognize, reconocer. To thank, agradeza. To thank, agradeza. To translate, traduce. To translate, traduce. To be right, tener raison. To be right, tener raison. To be worth, valer. To be worth, valer. To propose, propona. To propose, propona. To turn out well, saye bien. To turn out well, saye bien. To be important, importa. To be important, importa. To be left, queda. To be left, queda. To fascinate, fascina. To fascinate, fascinar. To heart, dola. To ache, dola. To interested, to be interested or be interested. To interest or be interested in Teresa. To lack, falta. To lack, falta. To love things, encanta, encanta. To adore, encanta. To endure, encanta. To seem, parisa. To seem, parisa. To appear, aparisa. To appear, aparisa. To be glad, alegrarse. To be glad, alegrarse. To be mistaken, equivocarse. To be mistaken, equivocarse. To be quiet, callase. To be quiet, callase. To be scared, asustarse. To be scared, asustarse. To break, quebrarse. To break, quebrarse. To fall in love, enamorarse. To fall in love, enamorarse. To graduate, graduarse. To graduate, graduarse. To grow up, criarse. Criarse. To grow up, criarse. To be raised, criarse. To be raised, criarse. To imagine, imaginarse. To imagine, imaginarse. To improve, meorarse. To improve, meorarse. To make fun of, burlarse. To make fun of, burlarse. To take a walk, pasearse. To take a walk, pasearse. To take care of oneself, criarse. To take care of oneself, cuidarse. To get along well with, llevarse bien con. To get along well with, llevarse bien con. To laugh, reírse. To laugh, reírse. To remember, acordarse. To remember, acordarse. To warm up, calentarse. To warm up, calentarse. To leave, salir. To leave, salir. To become, hazarse. To become, hazarse. To give up, darse por vencido. To give up, darse por vencido. To stand up, pronace de pie. To stand up, pronace de pie. To give up, darse por vencido. To become, hazarse. To leave, salir. To warm up, calentarse. To remember, acordarse. To laugh, rearse. To be left, queda. To fascinate, fascinar. To heart, dolar. To ache, dolar. To interest, be interested in Teresa. To lack, falta. To love things, encantar. To adore, encantar. To seem, paresa. To appear, aparesa. To be glad, alegrarse. To be mistaken, equivocarse. To be mistaken, equivocarse. To be quiet, callase. To be quiet, callase. To be scared, asustarse. To be scared, asustarse. To break, quebrarse. To break, quebrarse. To fall in love, enamorarse. To fall in love, enamorarse. To graduate, graduarse. To graduate, graduarse. To grow up, criarse. To grow up, criarse. To be raised, criarse. To be raised, criarse. To imagine, imaginarse. To imagine, imaginarse. To improve, mejuarse. To improve, mejuarse. To make fun of, burlarse. To make fun of, burlarse. To take a walk, pasearse. To take a walk, pasearse. To take care of oneself, cuidarse. To take care of oneself, cuidarse. To get along well with, llevarse bien con. To get along with, llevarse bien con. To attend to, attenda. To bite, murder. To say or tell, contar. To count on, contar con. To dream about, sonar con. To let go, solta. To pass a course or exam, aprobar. to resolve, resolver, to smell, oler, to sound, sonar, to ring, sonar, to appear, abarisa, to attract, attrayer, to establish, establisa, to offer, ofrisa, to produce, producer, to protect, protiga, to recognize, reconocer, to thank, agradesa, to translate, traducer, to be right, tener, razon, to be worth, valer, to propose, proponer, to turn out well, saler, bien, to be important, importer, okay, to respond, responder, to suppose, supernal, to switch on light, prenda, to admit, admitter, to cover, couprier, to demand, exiger, to describe, describer, to direct, diriger, to discover, describe, to discuss, discuter, to debate, discuter, to exist, exister, to insist, insister, to interrupt, interrumpere, to occur, occurre, to suffer, souffre, to correct, corrigere, to correct, corrigere, to smile, sonia, to ski, esgiga, to construct, construer, to contribute, contribuer, to lie, mentor, to maintain, maintainer, to suggest, seguira, to take care of, attender, to sign, firmer, to sign, firmer, to smoke, fuma, to smoke, fuma, to stop, para, to snap, para, to turn off, abaga, to turn off, amaga, to turn, dobla, to turn, dobla, to fold, dobla, to fold, dobla, to use, utilizer, to use, utilizer, to be born, nacer, to be born, nacer, to be harmful and damaging, hacer, deno, to be harmful and damaging, hacer, deno, to be scared, tenemino, to be scared, demonino, to be worth it, valer la pena, to be worth it, valer la pena, to conquer, vencer, to conquer, vencer, to overcome, vencer, to overcome, vencer, to convince, convincer, to convince, convincer, to depend, depender, to deserve, marisa, to disappear, desaparesa, to distract, distraya, to fit, seber, to grow, crea, crecer, to have, haber, haba, to hide, esconder, to pay attention, hacer caso, to pay attention, prestar atención, to pick up, recoga. Alright. I am power conscious. I am power consciousness. 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 I am health consciousness. I am health consciousness. I am health consciousness. I am power consciousness. I am power consciousness. Power consciousness desires me. Power consciousness desires me. Power consciousness desires me. Which one is it? Power consciousness desires me. I am power consciousness. I am power consciousness. I am power conscious in action. I am power consciousness in action. It is action power consciousness. I am power consciousness. I am power consciousness. I am power consciousness. I am a master of power consciousness. I am a master of power consciousness. I know the principles of the power of power consciousness. I know the principles of power consciousness. I am a master of power consciousness. I know the principles of power success. I know the principles of power success. I master the art of success. I master the art of success. It is possible to succeed. It is possible to succeed. Success is my birthright. Power consciousness is my birthright. Power consciousness is my birthright. My subconscious mind will often completely set aside, overcome what is known by the objective mind. I am power consciousness. Power comes from the subconsciousness. I am a master of auto-suggestion. I am power consciousness. I am health consciousness. I am health consciousness. I am health consciousness. I am power. I am strong. My mind is eternal. My mind is life. I am that mind and I am eternal life. I am power consciousness. I am power consciousness. I am power consciousness. I am power consciousness. Now I am power consciousness. I am power consciousness. I am power consciousness. I am conscious of my power. I am master of applying powerful physical, mental, and spiritual results. I have the attitude of power. I assume the position of power. I am a master of directing my energy. I am a master of directing my power. I am a master of success. I am conscious of my power. I am conscious of my energy. I am conscious of my success. I am conscious of my strength. I am conscious of my mind. I am conscious of my opportunities. I have the inherent power to direct my abilities and energies. I am power consciousness. 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 I am a master of mind development. I am a master of mind development. I am a master of evolutionary principles. I am a master of evolutionary principles. I am a master of my lower plane and of my higher plane. I am a master of my lower plane and higher plane. I am power consciousness. 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 I have an advancing mind. I am living an advancing life. I have an advancing mind. I have advancing faith. I have advancing enthusiasm. I have advancing power consciousness. I have advancing body. I have an advancing health. I have advancing power. I am power consciousness. 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 I have harmony. I have love, harmony, and tolerance. I release jealousy, revengefulness, hate, envy, and judgment of self and others. I release jealousy, revengefulness, hate, envy, and judgment of self and others. I release jealousy, revengefulness, hate, envy, and judgment of self and others. I release jealousy, revengefulness, hate, envy, and judgment of self and others. I am power consciousness. I am power consciousness. I am mentally strong. I am mentally strong. I am power consciousness. 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 I have perfect 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 consciousness. I have power consciousness. I am 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 power consciousness.